This recording is published by Langogh, 2025. This recording is copyright. This is the IELTS listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. You will hear a man or woman speaking to a group of people. You will be asked to answer questions based on the recording. You will have 30 seconds to read the questions before the recording begins. Now listen carefully and answer questions.
Good morning, everyone. Today's lecture focuses on one of the most transformative phenomena in human history, urbanization. We'll explore how cities evolved from ancient settlements to the sprawling metropolises we see today, and examine the profound societal impacts this process has had throughout different historical periods. Let's begin our journey in ancient Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization. Around 3500 BC, the world's first true cities began to emerge in this fertile region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Cities like Uruk and Ur weren't just larger settlements, they represented a fundamental shift in how humans organized themselves. These early urban centers served primarily as hubs for trade and administration, bringing together merchants, artisans, priests, and government officials in unprecedented concentrations. What made these early cities possible? The answer lies in agricultural development. The ability to produce food surpluses through advanced farming techniques meant that not everyone needed to work the land. This freed people to specialize in other occupations, creating the diverse economic base that cities require. Without agriculture capable of supporting non-farming populations, urbanization simply couldn't have occurred. We see this pattern repeated across ancient civilizations, from the Indus Valley to ancient Egypt and China. Moving forward several millennia, the next major transformation in urban history came with the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. This period fundamentally reshaped cities in ways that still affect us today. The rise of factory-based manufacturing created an enormous demand for labor, drawing millions of people from rural areas into rapidly expanding urban centers. Factory work replaced traditional agricultural employment as the primary source of livelihood for vast numbers of people. The scale of this migration was staggering. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and Liverpool in England experienced rapid population growth that their infrastructure simply couldn't handle. In 1800, only about 3% of the world's population lived in urban areas. By 1900, this figure had risen dramatically, and the trend showed no signs of slowing. This explosive urban growth created challenges that societies had never faced before. One of the most pressing issues was overcrowding, which led to poor sanitation conditions in many working-class neighborhoods. Without adequate sewage systems or clean water supplies, diseases like cholera and typhoid spread rapidly through dense urban populations. The living conditions in industrial cities shocked social reformers and eventually prompted government intervention. The development of public transport systems became essential, not just for moving workers to factories, but for reducing the crushing density of inner-city slums by allowing people to live further from their workplaces. These problems eventually led to significant reforms. Governments began to recognize that urban living conditions affected not just individual health but economic productivity and social stability. This realization prompted the creation of housing regulations designed to ensure minimum standards for ventilation, space, and sanitation. Building codes, once virtually non-existent, became increasingly detailed and enforceable. Public health acts mandated improved water and sewage systems. These reforms, though often implemented gradually and unevenly, marked a crucial shift toward planned urban development. The 20th century brought new dimensions to urbanization. The automobile transformed city layouts, leading to suburban sprawl and the decline of many inner-city areas. Later, deindustrialization in developed countries created abandoned factory districts and unemployment in cities that had once thrived on manufacturing. Meanwhile, developing nations experience their own rapid urbanization, often without the resources to manage it effectively. Today, we're witnessing the emergence of megacities, urban areas with populations exceeding 10 million people. Places like Tokyo, Delhi, Shanghai, and Sao Paulo dwarf even the largest cities of the industrial era. These massive urban agglomerations present both opportunities and challenges. They concentrate economic activity, cultural institutions, and innovation, but they also face enormous pressures on infrastructure, housing, and environmental resources. This brings us to contemporary urban planning, which increasingly emphasizes sustainable development. Modern planners recognize that cities must balance economic growth with environmental protection and social equity. Concepts like green building, public transit investment, mixed-use development, and urban green spaces are now central to planning discussions. The goal is to create cities that can accommodate growing populations while maintaining livability and minimizing environmental impact. Interestingly, we're also seeing renewed interest in urban agriculture, pedestrian-friendly design, and community-based planning, ideas that in some ways echo the human-scale communities that existed before the industrial era. However, these concepts are now being applied with modern technology and within a framework of sustainability that previous generations didn't consider. The history of urbanization reveals that cities are never static. They constantly evolve in response to technological changes, economic shifts, and social movements. Understanding this history helps us appreciate both the remarkable achievements of urban civilization and the ongoing challenges we face. As more than half the world's population now lives in urban areas, with that proportion expected to reach 68% by 2050, the decisions we make about urban development today will shape the lives of billions of people in the decades to come. The story of urbanization is ultimately a story about human adaptability and innovation. From those first Mesopotamian cities to today's megacities, urban areas have been crucibles of cultural exchange, economic dynamism, and social change. They've driven human progress while also reflecting our failures to create just and sustainable societies. As we look to the future, the challenge lies in learning from this rich history to build cities that enhance rather than diminish human well-being, cities that work with rather than against natural systems, and cities that provide opportunities for all their residents, not just the privileged few. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to discussing these themes further in our seminar sessions.
Visit langogh.com to view the answers to these questions or to access more tests.